Thank you. So if the startup thing doesn't work out, I'm definitely going to get that fleet of Prosecco Vans. So this is the first time I'm doing a talk where I don't have slides and I have notes instead, which means that I don't have any hilarious GIFs to fall back on, which is normally my crutch. So bear with me. I don't even need to do the intro really, because that was that. What I wanted to talk about tonight was my story of failure and dealing with failure, and the turning point when I started not internalizing it. So it's pretty hard to talk about failure without mentioning the word resilience. And I think resilience you build in lots of different ways. And for me, my resilience was built right from early childhood, really. I didn't have the easiest start in life, and this is only 7 minutes, although I can't see the timer, so I'll never know. So I'm not going to go through all the details, but I went to like 4 different primary schools, an area school, an intermediate, and 2 different high schools, and I haven't lived with my parents since I was 12. So independence was something that I grew a lot of. And I think when I thought back about it, I hadn't really pieced it together until now, but the independence built the resilience, which then built the independence some more. And it was just like cyclical, and it made me who I am today. Every time I was coming back from boarding school in the holidays, I would work on the farm. And so I can milk cows, I can, herd sheep, I can do it all. And I think that's where I got that work ethic from. So I've always worked. I love my work. I identify with my work. When people ask me what my hobbies are, like literally all I have is restaurant recommendations and a love of Prosecco. I always laugh. Like I've never had hobbies, which is kind of weird, I think. I don't know. But I've loved my work. I've loved my career. I love success. I love helping other people successful, and that's part of why I've built a career in people and culture, so that I can help companies, I can help teams grow, and I've had some really cool opportunities to do with really cool companies globally. So I'm proud. I'm proud of that. But it hasn't been without its challenges, and I think my approach was I care a lot about what people think. I care a lot about reputation, and I never wanted people to know about the hard things. I think in New Zealand, we're all really aware of how connected we are. It's small. You kind of feel that if you make a mistake, everyone's going to know about it. If you're raising capital, like many entrepreneurs have to in New Zealand, that can be really tough. Like you want people to think that everything is good, and that they don't have to worry about their hard-earned money. So you kind of fall into this trap of not talking about the hard things. And for me, that was my trap until about 3 years ago, when I was a part of a hard thing. So I was a part of a high-growth tech company. My role was VP of talent. My responsibility was growing that tech company. And so grow it I did. We hired a lot of people, and we hired too fast, too much. And we needed to right size. And that meant that about 70 people that I'd hired, that I'd promised they were going to get the career of their dreams, they had to find new jobs, and so did I. So that thing there that was the catalyst. And because it was so public, I couldn't not talk about it. Like people were asking, people were like, how the fuck did that happen? Like, tell me more. And so I started talking about it. And the thing that I realized is it was helping people. They were like writing notes and like learning, and all the mistakes that we'd made and those red flags that I'd seen along the way, they were helpful to people. And so that then turned into me kind of opening up a little bit more. So I started talking about my anxiety, and my anxiety, it's funny, it's not funny. It's definitely not funny. But the first couple of times I talked about it, people were like, oh, I do that too. So for me, it would come in the form of what I truly thought was a heart attack. It would always happen when I was driving, most often over the harbour bridge. So you can imagine, like, it just spiraled out of control. Like, you sit there and you're thinking, I'm going to be the person that's going to fuck this traffic up for hours and hours and hours because I am going to have a heart attack and die. So that was happening on a regular occurrence, like every single week that would happen. And so I started talking about that. And then I was in the midst of building Populate and started talking about how that was really hard, and how it wasn't all rainbows and sunshine and unicorns, and things were taking longer, they were costing more, it was tough. Then I started... What did I start talking about next? It was like a long list. I was like, once you got me started on talking about the hard things, I just couldn't stop. I had to swallow my pride and start talking about how financially I was going backwards and I wasn't feeling good about it. I was pouring everything into the business and I wasn't looking after myself. And my partner is my co-founder, so it was both of us. And there's kids and there's life, and it was hard. It was silly. And then I also started talking about my health because my health was starting to deteriorate. So all of these things, like, as I was talking about it, people were like, oh, like, these are my stories. This is my perspective. I can help you. I can give you advice. And, you know, Dale here is definitely one of those people that has helped me along the way. But it was just one of those things that once you got started and you got to realize that everyone is experiencing this stuff, it just made it okay. And I think that was the thing, is it also made me better. Because I work in people and culture, my responsibility is to help people, right? And so here I was, like, preaching all of these great practices and not following them myself. So this whole process helped me help other people fail and other people be okay with it and ultimately learn from it. I haven't used my notes this whole time. This is amazing. We all have baggage, right? We all have experiences that we have had that have changed the way that we approach things in the future. And my advice is always to accept those. Like, I always used to say to candidates that I was hiring, bring all of your experience and none of your baggage. And now I'm really embarrassed about that because I'm like, no, bring your baggage, accept that it's baggage, and then let's learn from it. Let's actually take something away and help us not make these same mistakes. So I think the advice that I wanted to leave you with, and this is a part that I definitely want to not forget any points, was around surrounding yourself with the people that will bring you up, not bring you down. The people that you trust, the people that are going to be honest with you even if it really hurts. They're the people that you need around you. Start small, but start talking about the hard things and trust that it will be okay. I think we tend to assume the worst sometimes, but often it's not the case. Learn from the mistakes is definitely always an important one, and where you can help other people. But I think, like, it's like a kid touching a hot thing. Sometimes you need to let them touch the hot thing to learn that it's hot and it hurts. So sometimes you need to let people learn those mistakes themselves, but, you know, where you can, try. The other part was, be someone that people are comfortable talking to about their challenges and their hard things, and accept that really openly and help, because this person's had to get really vulnerable with you, and what you don't want to do is inadvertently destroy them in the time where they've, like, needed you most. And it could be that catalyst, right? It could be that moment where they go, oh, this stuff is okay. And lastly, like, remember that failure is everywhere, all around us. The biggest successes have come from repeated failures. So you just have to pick up, brush off, get on with it. Done.